All right, cool, cool. All right, so today, my name is Nathan Keys, and I'll be demonstrating pretty much how to use Qualys to run an agent and an agentless scan. And basically, the difference between the two is your. So basically, by agent I mean it's your computer. So, say for instance, if you are using a laptop, that would be an agent, or your PC tower, that would be agent as well. And so pretty much what you have to do, well, pretty much the difference between the two is, say if you're running a virtual machine, and so therefore by technically you don't have an agent. So you would run an agentless scan, which is basically when Qualys provides you with a UDID for your virtual machine so that you can identify, so that the scanner can identify who is requesting the scan. And by UDID, it's your unique device identifier number. So pretty much it's a specific number that each piece of hardware or technology you may own has one. So say for instance, I know on your Apple devices, if you go into your settings and you look into your about section, you'll see like SMEI, and then you see a UDID number, and that would be pretty much be the number that is specific to your device. But first, I'm gonna start out by just showing you how in Qualys how you can set up a agentless scan. So first, you log into your Qualys account, and as you can see, I'm using the community edition, so it's free. And so you would go into assets, and then you would pretty much hit the bar into setup, and then here is where you would pretty much go through the functions. I mean the process of setting up agentless tracking. So this is where you see asset tracking and data merging. As you can see right now, I have mine off. And so first you just want to click accept agentless tracking identifier. And just as saying that you're giving permission for Qualys to pretty much create a unique asset number or UUID for your virtual machine. Just save that. And then next thing you want to do is you want to set up a protocol for your scan. I just gotta find the setup for it real quick. Sorry about that. Well, but you go through the process of setting up a protocol that would allow you to pretty much set rules for your scan. And so in that rule protocol, you can set up, say, hey, I want to scan this specific scanner from my machine or device and allow it to scan this set of IP addresses, which would be your asset group, or you can just enter specific IP addresses. And so from there, you just go to your scans and just run a scan basically. And so I'm not gonna kick off a new I'm not gonna kick off a brand new scan, but as you can see, this first test right here is from my agent list scan. And so if I open the report, should show you guys the UDID number. Click for generate. All right. And so as you can see, here's my list of IP addresses. Two of these are from my virtual machine. So I'm running a Windows 10 virtual machine as well as a Ubuntu, as you can see. And so I'm using IP addresses from both of those just to kind of protect my personal security as far as with my computer, as well as see if I can experiment and see if we can pull up any different number of vulnerabilities within my virtual machine since I'm not running a firewall through this virtual machines, basically. And as you can see, total number of vulnerabilities I have is 84. My security risk average is 1.3, which means pretty much low to mid-grade vulnerabilities. Nothing that can majorly impact my virtual machines network, but they have the ability to in the future if I choose not to neglect them. And then as you can see, this is the five biggest categories of my vulnerabilities. Categorized by severity, sorry, and stuff of that nature. And as you can see here, I believe here is my UDID number, well, it doesn't give me any data. It doesn't give me text on it, but this right here is my UDID number. And that's the one provided to me by the Qualys agentless tracking. And so I can show you the other report as well, just for some kind of comparison. And it's gonna pretty much read the same, just because I used the same asset group to scan each scan, and I just did that just because of the fact that with virtual machines, they have a tendency to, if it's not your personal IP address, there's sometimes kind of sometimes it will let you in the scan on certain IPs and sometimes it won't. This got depending on the protocol you have set in place. And so with these three IP addresses, that's why I found was the one that was most consistently working for scanning wise. As you can see, this is my agent scan. As you can see, I have a little bit more vulnerabilities, about 5 more, but my security average went up from a 1.3 to a 2.0. And so that just means that I have more have rather than more low grade, more mid grade vulnerabilities that came through with this report. And so as you can see, the Raptor firewall right here, it caught one, but there was two that got past it. Well, no, there was two other detected in another operating system. I'm sorry, and there's one detected by the Raptor firewall, and then as you can see, is a slight difference in the UDID. Not necessarily. I want to say it's kind of like these one of these six middle numbers, but it's just slightly different, and so that's how you can kind of use Qualys to therefore protect your to run a scan safely from your home system without using your home system per se by using a virtual machine. And as you can see, just some more vulnerabilities that can kind of populate through the report as well. And that's pretty much the end of my demo. Anybody have any questions?
No, that was a pretty good demonstration, bro. No, I don't have any question. Anybody else?
Cool. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to show you guys how to run an agent and agentless scan using Qualys. Let me just start sharing my screen.
All right, next
Hi.
up we got Hari. Oh, go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
Sure. I was just wondering if Benjamin wants to go next, or can I continue?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're audible, but your screen is kind
Yeah.
of like
Sorry
flickering
about
out.
that. My camera's not working, but I'll just share my screen. I think that works. I'd be happy to go now.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and go, Benjamin.
Cool. All right, let me just get the right screen up here. And can you all see my screen now?
It's
Can you all
still,
see?
it's still, no, it's still a glitch.
Okay. Huh, I'm getting a preview.
Do you by chance have like another computer you can use?
Yeah, I
That's
might
my
need to switch devices. I'll try that and I'll be back up and running in a few minutes. Okay, sorry about that, folks.
Do you want me to go next while you switch out your screens, or I can wait? I'm good.
Yeah, Hurry. Go ahead and go, and then hopefully by the time you're finished, Benjamin can the screen and everything be good to go.
Awesome. Sharing my screen here, and if anyone can please confirm if it's visible, we can start off with the presentation.
I see.
Awesome. So yeah, my talk for today is basically about security and compliance on the cloud. My name is Pranav Arun Kumar, and I've just posted my socials in the slide presentation here. I'll can also like paste that in the Zoom chat if anybody wants to connect with me later. So just to introduce myself, I'm a master student at Penn State, graduating in May 24, looking for open opportunities in cloud security, product security, or uh, normal cybersecurity analytics. I love to blog in my free time, write about open source tools and security products. And in today's talk, we'll be discussing about an open source tool called AWS Prowler. So starting off with compliance, what is compliance and why is it actually important for every organization to have a set of compliance standards? Um, so in short, we can see that like wherever a particular organization wants to do business, every country has a particular set of laws that the organization has to adhere to. Uh, this is very beneficial because if the organization does not agree to the set of baseline or standards, then they can't really operate legally in that particular country. This is mainly done to protect the users' data that the organizations or the company use. And all of us must be aware of cloud computing and how complex cloud platforms are becoming every day. Just to give some context, there are the main big players are like AWS, GCP, Azure. We also have like Alibaba Cloud, so on and so forth. And when looking at these cloud platforms, we can see that every cloud platform comes out with new services every day. Um, for example, if we go with the AWS side of things, we have S3 for storage, and now they are coming out with new services for ETL pipelines, management of data, how do you encrypt data on the cloud, so on and so forth. And as cloud security engineers or administrators, or in general, anyone working with the cloud, there is a lot of issue with respect to the security with these services because when we give our data to the cloud, there is a cloud shared responsibility model in which the cloud provider takes some of the responsibility of managing the data, and the customer has a particular amount of responsibility for managing their own data. To just give a simple example, whenever we store data on the cloud, if we go to the OSI model, we can see that for a service like S3, since it's a SaaS-based service, most of the underlying architectures like the storage security, it's taken care of by AWS, but the customer has to actually implement the security best practices on the application layer. Um, so that's like a brief on the different challenges that the administrators or the cloud users face. And I've just put in a notable hack, which is the Capital One hack, which recently happened. And there was a bunch of SSNs and important data which was stolen. So keeping these things in mind, let's kind of explore the open source tool called Prowler, which can help administrators and cloud users identify where these services are deployed across different regions in the world, and also try to figure out whether these services are compliant to the set of baseline standards. So coming to Prowler, as I said, it's an open source tool and it performs various checks across different cloud platforms. And the beautiful aspect of Prowler is that it maps the security checks to different baseline standards like CIS, NIST, FedRAMP, PCI, DSS, that's used for like credit card, the best practices to store credit card data, so on and so forth. So the main selling point of Prowler is that when an organization deploys this tool, they can get compliance across all their regions and across all the services which are currently supported by the tool. Just to add a side note, there is also a paid version of the tool, but the open source version is also very well developed. And I've just put the GitHub link below. If anyone is interested, they can just Google Prowler and you get the GitHub link. And they have a very active community where anyone can, like go and contribute as well. So I have actually installed Prowler on my virtual machine. I have created a Kali Linux lab where I have installed AWS Prowler. And in this demo, I'm going to showcase a cloud misconfiguration and how can Prowler actually find those cloud configurations. So if anyone wants to follow along, feel free to do so. So the first step is to have an account on AWS. And so this is my AWS account here. And this is the AWS console once we log in. There are a bunch of services. As we can see here, there's one for storage, there's one for a server, so on and so forth. So in my example, what I wanted to showcase is something where a user creates a misconfiguration on a storage bucket, and it's called an S3 in AWS family of things. So I've just created a bucket called temp bucket, and the misconfiguration that I have done is that I have made the objects as public. So this misconfiguration could lead to a potential attack. For example, if the user information is stored in this bucket, then anyone could just come and enumerate my cloud instance to find out what buckets are made public. And if I store my data in this public bucket, then anyone can download that information. So this is one of the most common misconfigurations which can occur in the cloud. So just to give an idea or a scale, let's consider an organization who's operating in the cloud. There might be multiple teams. Let's say there's a data science team, there's a data engineering team, there's a developer team, there's a DevOps team, and these teams may be globally distributed. So in the cloud, we can kind of see that there are different regions where we can launch our resources. So let's say our hypothetical company operates worldwide. So they may have their resources deployed across US East 1, US East 2, the West Coast. Then they might come to the Asia, they might come to like Indian side of things where they deploy it in AP South, North, so on and so forth in the European region. So as the base of operations expand, the cloud footprint also expands. And it will be very difficult for, let's say, a security engineer or an administrator to manually switch into every region and figure out what resources are, first of all, deployed across the region. And after figuring out what are those resources, they need to figure out what are the best practices for each of the services deployed in those regions. And finally, they have to map those services to the different compliance standards for every region itself. So switching back to my slide, to just give an example, sometimes every region will have its own compliance standard that the organization needs to adhere to actually function in that region. So let's start with the installation of Prowler. I have my Kali Linux instance here. You just log into that. And yeah, so let's start with the first step, which is installing the AWS secret key and the access key. So I'm not going to share my secret key and access key because anyone on the call can just take it and take control of my account. But I have actually configured it on my system, and the way to do that is given there, is given in the blog post here. So once we configure the keys, we can just run AWS configure to verify whether those keys are configured. Again, I won't log my output here, but I can give a command which will try to read my S3 buckets, and we can see in the terminal as well as in the cloud whether my command works. So the command is AWS S3 ls. So if anyone is familiar with the command line, ls is basically like listing whatever is available. So when I run this command, as you can see, it shows that I have 2 buckets, and to just verify that, I can switch back to my AWS, and we can see that there are 2 buckets here. So this confirms that I can access my cloud through my terminal from within my virtual machine. Cool. So the next step is to install AWS Prowler. Since I've already installed it, it's just a pip install command. There are multiple ways to install it. You can also install it using Docker, or we can also install it using like Python, like a normal Python script, but I chose the pip install because it's the easiest. So after installing it, let's try to figure out the version what version we are running in our system. So I'll just paste my clipboard here. And as you can see, I'm running Prowler version 3.5.2. Awesome. So once like anyone has any questions here, or I can move forward in the next slide.
That was a great share, bro.
Okay.
Thank you for everything. Real nice presentations, man.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
Benjamin,
have,
you
like,
good? Oh, wait, my bad. Go ahead, Ari.
I'm sorry. I still have like 2 more slides. I'm sorry. I was just asking if anyone had questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So once we have installed Prowler, the next step is, let's see what are the different compliance standards that Prowler actually offers us. So let's come here and paste in our code, which is basically -- list compliance. And seem to be working, but let's try to run Prowler and try to figure out if we can get a compliance standard. Okay, there we go. So while that is running, I'll just walk you through the command. So it's we're just using like Python 3 -m. We're running the command Prowler, and we're specifying -- compliance because we want to run it again against the PCI standard. And we are outputting the output of Prowler to this specific directory, which is home/kali/PCI 3.2.1 AWS. So while that's running, it's going to take some time, but I've already like run the tool to get the output. So let me go back to that directory, which is /home/kali, and let me go to full. And yeah, so Prowler basically gives us output in these 3 formats, and I'm assuming that in the latest version they have more formats as well. So for our demo, let's try to go check the HTML output which is coming here. So let me open up this so that we have a GUI and we can kind of go into that and check it out. So let me go to Kali. Let me go to just a second. Yeah, so Kali, then it's full. Within that, we have a HTML. So opening my HTML file here, we can actually get a beautiful graphical user interface for the output of Prowler. And let me try to like make it more easier to see. Cool. So as we look at the findings that Prowler has found, I can just click on the filters here. It takes a bit of time to load because there are like 813 findings. Out of that, 440 of them have passed and 373 have failed. So looking at the filters here, we can see that we can filter by the region. As I was saying, like multiple organizations may have their cloud resources deployed on various regions. Then we have the severity of issues, which are high, low, medium. Then we have the risk associated with that issue, and we have the compliance standard that it is mapped to, and we also have the remediation for that issue. So for our example here, let's go to the service, which is S3, what we have manually misconfigured. So when I click on that, it kind of filters down everything here again. And as you can see, I just have my S3 bucket in my US East region. So that filters down as well. That's great to know. And these are the, let's try to figure out what issues have failed, which are critical. So clicking on those two filters, it's going to filter down. And as we can see here, it says that S3 account level public access has not been enabled, which means that anybody can come to my cloud and download the data. Similarly, I can go to the issues which are low. It says there are only 2 low issues, and it's kind of like duplicated the same. Coming to the medium issues which have failed, we can see that I have not enabled multi-factor authentication on my bucket. I have not enabled versioning on my bucket. So let's say a hacker gets access to my bucket, they can just come and delete all the data. If I've not enabled versioning, then I can't go and get back the data. Same thing for secure transport policy, which basically means that all my data is not secured through TLS or SSL, and logging of my bucket activity has not been enabled as well. So through this tool, we can basically get the entire misconfiguration across all the regions, across all the services which are done, and it's also mapped to the different compliance standards. So as we can see here, for example, if we go check S3 temporary, S3 bucket, the versioning has been disabled, and that has been mapped to these compliance standards. So that was basically the GUI, and I guess the next step would be to, yeah, this is just the same thing what I described. We have a misconfigured S3 bucket, and if it has like PII data, anyone on the internet can access it. And that's that. This was the output from Prowler. We get like a HTML file. We also have a CSV and a JSON document. This can be further ingested into different tools like Power BI, or AWS has its own version of visualization called QuickSight. Finally, we can also deploy the entire solution using AWS CDK. And what AWS CDK does is that it's a way to code our deployment in whatever language we want, like let's say Python or JavaScript, and it converts it into Terraform templates which are deployed. So to know more about that, I have actually written a small blog post, and it can be accessed. I'll just share the link in the URL. And what I've done in this blog post is that I've used AWS CDK, and it basically deploys Prowler on an EC2 instance using another service called ECS, and the entire process is automated. We also get like this dashboard, and this dashboard is interactive. We can like click on each of these graphic icons here, and it will filter the dashboard as well. So yeah, that's my presentation. If anyone is interested to collaborate on this project or learn more about it, I can share all my um, learnings on the chat. And yeah, thank you so much for Scotty and the other presenters for taking the time. Thank you.
Appreciate your share, bro. Thank you again for these presentations, man. They big. All right, Benjamin, you up?
I believe so. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. And can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So thanks, Hari, for your presentation. That was really interesting. I would love to learn more about cloud pen testing. So if you want to connect after, maybe we can swap some resources. I've been focused mostly on CTF challenges for the last couple of years. And I wanted to show everyone, I have a YouTube page I've built with little walkthroughs of different challenges. Try Hack Me is the main platform I use, but I also do a bit of Hack the Box, and I'm going to be moving into Pwn Labs pretty soon for cloud. And today I want to present this one. About 3 months ago, I did a walkthrough called Eavesdropper. It's this box from Try Hack Me. It's rated medium for difficulty. And what we're going to do today is basically walk through this box. We'll get in with an SSH private key that's provided. And then I'm going to show how an underprivileged user on a Linux machine can actually spy on system processes. And sometimes there are processes going on that can help you escalate your privileges up to the root user. So in this case, we'll be doing that. I've already connected to my VPN over here, which I downloaded from the Try Hack Me website. There's some task files we'll grab here. It's the private key. So I made a new folder, Eavesdropper, TAC, walkthrough. Let's grab that key. I'll open a new tab here. And I like to label my tabs just so I know what's going on. So we've got VPN there, and we'll do SSH on this tab. And I'll make it a little bigger so you can see. So let's see, our file is there, we can verify. If we do ls tac la, we can see permissions. And for a private SSH key, we need to change the permissions here so that it doesn't share permissions with other users. So in Linux, we can do that with a chmod 600, and then the file name, which is id rsa.id tac rsa. So if we do lsla again, now we'll see that we have more restrictive permissions. And it tells us that our username is Frank. So let's go ahead and log in as Frank now to the SSH portal. So we'll just do SSH tac I, and then the name of that key, idrsa.id tac rsa, and then we'll do frank at, and then we just need our target address. So yeah, I didn't start the machine yet. So we'll do that. In about 60 seconds, we'll have a target IP that we can look at. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and grab the utility that we'll be using to spy on system processes. So it's called pspy. And the thing that really surprised me about pspy is that you can view processes going on by privileged users from an unprivileged account. So it's a really good, it's a good attack vector for CTFs where you're on a Linux box and you have to privesc up to the administrator. So this pspy is on GitHub. You can download the binaries. I know that our machine is going to be a 64-bit machine, so I'll download this one here. And we'll just put it right into our current folder. So Eavesdropper TAC walkthrough. We've got that now, and we should have a target now. Oh, almost. A few seconds. So once we get in to SSH, we'll do some basic enumeration and start to poke around the operating system and see what is there, see if there's anything suspicious. So here's our command. We should be in as Frank now without a password because we have the private key. And it seems to be hanging, so let me try that again. Okay, not working, so let me cat out that file and see. Yeah, it looks like a private key file. That looks correct. Looks correct. So we may have just jumped a bit too fast. See if we can get in now. 226, 160. Let's check our access, see if we made a mistake on the VPN. So it looks like we do not have an internal VPN. So let's just grab a new VPN file, go back to our VPNs tab, and we'll stick it in the Eavesdropper attack walkthrough. And yeah, we can replace that file name. We'll cancel out our VPN connection and let's reconnect now. So now we're reconnected and hopefully we're on the right VPN, and we can verify that again now by reloading the access page. And both of these should turn green. Okay, so when this happens, it's frustrating, but I can generate a new VPN file. So we'll do that. We'll regenerate. And that kind of zeroes it out and sort of like restarting with your connection. Let's see if this does the trick. So one more time, sudo open VPN, Kali Surfer, and we are connected. Let's see if we are on the internal network now here. Oh, okay, still not working. So in this case, I'm going to go to the plan B, which is to use the built-in box here on this Try Hack Me site. So if we go back to our box, Eavesdropper, we can use the attack box. And this is only available for subscribing CTF players, but you can get it in browser. So you don't have to install a VM, and it's already connected to the right network for the challenge. All right, so while that's loading up, let's just check our connection one more time here. Try Hack Me, access. I think I may have screwed up some routes on my on my base hardware here. So using this attack box should be fine. So it says if you're using the attack box, you can copy and paste. Sure, yeah, we can do that. So I'll go ahead and prep that while we're waiting. Let's grab file. I'll just shrink it down here. So we'll cat it one more time. And I'll just scroll up, copy and paste, making sure that I have the private key begin and end lines there so that it's correct in format. And we don't really need to be on this VPN anymore. So we'll drop that. So I find when I'm doing pen testing or CTF challenges that I constantly run into tech issues and just have to think always in terms of a workaround or a plan B. So you can even see that happening now. So I believe the attack box is going to be running a Parrot OS, which is another common distribution for pen testers. And we're almost up here. Usually I don't use the attack box because cutting and pasting is a bit tedious. You have to do it off to the side here, like this, to get it into the system clipboard. So we'll just we'll leave that in there. And now we should have it on our system clipboard. Okay. All right, so we're up and running here. This is our in web browser attack box. So let's see if we can connect now too. We don't need the VPN, but let's see if we can ping our target. Okay, I'm gonna have to type that because cut and paste is not linked to my own operating system, but I am getting a ping back from my target. So what I can do is go ahead and SSH in now. Okay, the Control C is not working on this one, but that's all right. We'll open a new tab and let's prepare first our file. So we'll do a vim and we'll call it ID RSA. What was that file called? ID RSA .id tac RSA. And it doesn't have to be called that, but that's a good name for it. and we'll paste. See if we can get the paste to work here. Okay, so we have our private key here. That should work. Okay, system clipboard. Maybe I need to right click. Let's collapse that down and we'll right click and paste. And let's see if we have the beginning. Did we get the end? I don't see the end line there. That's pretty important. So let's go back to my terminal for a moment. Let's see, we got all the way to the E, but we need this line for it to actually work. So let's copy that and go back to our paste right here. Paste that in and collapse it down. Right click and left click. Now we have the whole file, so I'll escape, :WQ for write and quit. Vim is an awesome editor. If you haven't learned how to use it, it's definitely worth the time. Let's SSH in now with attack I for this. Oh, right, I have to prep the file first with a chmod 600 like we did last time. Now we'll SSH in with attack I, IDRSA. We're going in as username Frank as per the instructions. And then our target IP, what was that again? 10.10.226.160. 10.10.226.160. And now we'll say yes, and we should be in as Frank. So let's see if I can. Let's start poking around the system. Let's see, where are we now? We're in Frank's file, directory. Let's check uname tag A. We're running Linux, Ubuntu, 64-bit. Let's check some connections. How about a netstat command? TAC ANO, we see a bit of communication here through various ports. SSH, that's what we're on currently. Let's try PS TAC AUX, see processes going on. And we see some things are happening by user Frank and by root. Now let's drop in our PS spy and see. I don't know if our attack box has internet access. Let's see if we can just go to it. All right, and I'll just make this full screen so it's a little easier to see. Bring that over. Let's make it a little bigger. And here we are. We're full screen now on the attack box. And it looks like we do have an internet connection on our attack box, which is perfect. Let's grab pspy. Okay, doesn't really matter. We'll accept those conditions. Okay. And here we go. So we'll get that binary again, pspy 64. There's a small and a big version. Let's do the big version. Okay. Let's see. Actually, I want to be in here. Here we go. This is actually the right browser. So we'll get our big version here. And we've downloaded it, a few times. So I was on the right one. Now let's grab our terminal. And where's the one we were on before? Here it is. Frank is right here. Let's check our downloads folder. Okay, downloads, ls. There's no downloads folder. That's because we're root. That's right. We're root on our attack box. So we need to set up a quick Python server to serve up this file, and then we can grab it from our box that we've SSH'd into as Frank. So we'll start up a new tab. terminal. Here we go. New tab. And on this one, let's go into our downloads. Oh, and it didn't download to there. Here it is, pspy. So we'll just go ahead and start up a Python 3 simple HTTP server now. And we see our IP is right here, 10.10.185.229. We can use the browser. Actually, we have to use our SSH here, and we can use the command wget to grab that from our server. And we're at 10.10.185.229, and we're running on port 8000. And what we want to grab is called pspy. Is there 64 on that? There is. pspy 64. So I just got it. I'm going to chmod plus exit now so that we can execute pspy. And now we'll run it. And this is what pspy looks like. It's going to show me processes that are running real time. So I'm particularly interested in anything run by UID 0, which is the root user. Because if I can hijack that, then I can become the root user and catch some kind of a reverse shell or a password. So let's see what looks interesting here. Looking down the list. So this line is of particular interest here. I'll cancel this out. Let's see if we can just stop this process and look at this line here. So someone is running as the root user a sudo cat etc shadow. Now it's kind of weird that a root user would run a command with sudo because it's redundant, but probably what's happening is a underprivileged user is running something as the root user, and that's why they need to type sudo. So we can conjecture now that this is on a cron job. It's being run every minute or 2 minutes on a loop. So if we can hijack this sudo and make it into a new program, we could have it send us a reverse shell, and then we'll become the root user. So we have a little script for that. Let's go ahead and create a program now. So let's see, do we have Vim on this machine? See what happens. Okay. All right, so I'm not able to exit that shell for some reason, so let's close it out if we can. And we'll just do another SSH. Let's see. We were over in home Frank. And we've got, there it is. Our file is right there. We'll SSH in again, tac I with ID RSA. And we're Frank at our target, which is right here. 10.10.226.160. Okay, so we're in again as Frank with a working terminal here. Let's go ahead and drop our script in so that we can hijack this command here that's running on a loop. So let's create the script. We can actually use an echo command just to keep it simple. So I'm going to use that cut and paste thing here again with the machine. Here's our script. It's a bin bash script. It'll read the password and then echo the password into a password.txt file in our home Frank directory. So let's close that down and see if we can echo that whole thing now with a right click, paste. And it didn't work. So let's see if we can do a Vim, and we'll just call it sudo. And it works good. Interactive mode, and let's see if I can paste now. the right click paste, and we'll go to save. Actually, we can do that manually with escape :right quit. And now we're set. I think we might need to chmod plus X that sudo. And the last thing we have to do is modify our bin path, or our path variable rather, so that it reads from our home frank directory. Then it should be able to give us a new file, password.txt, with Frank's password. Okay, so let's edit that path file. What we're going to do is vim, and it's called .bashrc. And here it is. So we'll put the path right here. Okay, and so we want to put path equals home frank : and then the rest of our path variable. I believe that's how we do it. So let's write and quit again. And now all we have to do is wait for the file to show up. And we can see the processes from pspy continue to run back here. Whenever we get that cat, the sudo cat command, it should run our sudo program and then write us a new, there it is. We got it, cat password.txt. This is Frank's password, which is awesome because we didn't know what Frank's password was before. So now we can do a little further enumeration. We'll just copy that password here. Let's do a sudo tac l. And now we have the password. Let's see, copy this again. Right click, copy, right click, paste, and enter. And it says we can run all commands. So now we can do a sudo su. Because we have full permissions, we can go to the root directory now, and we can cat out whatever it's called, flag, or flag text. So this is our flag, and you can see how we escalated our privileges up to the root using this tricky technique of hijacking the path variable and also spoofing a binary by writing a new script called sudo, so that the cron job ran our script instead of the command that they intended to. So this is just one example of a CTF challenge, but also it shows how in the real world, things that seem like they're secure aren't always secure. So it's important to make sure that you take safety measures and precautions so that you don't leak system information like this out to underprivileged users who might be internal threats or even external threats in a system. So that's it for my presentation. Thanks for listening. And if you feel like watching more CTF walkthroughs, you can always check out my YouTube. I'm happy to connect with anyone here or anyone listening later on. So thanks again for the chance to speak today. Thank you. Any questions?
Wow, yes, that was a great share, Benjamin. Thank you. I'm glad everything got to working.
Yeah, me too.
Video and audio wise. Does anybody have any questions, man? Everybody, please make sure if you haven't, well, you don't have to put it in the chat, but just for another recap, I want to thank everybody that did a demo today. But if you guys don't mind, come off the mic one more time and kind of let everybody know, hey, where to find you, and also your contact information if you want to, build with any of the three people that went on for the demos today.
Sounds good. I'll drop my contact info in the chat.
Perfect.
I'll drop mine in as well. Well, I'll drop my LinkedIn there right now.
Okay, anybody that was from the audience, anybody have any questions for any of the people that actually gave demos today? Did you learn anything? Anything kind of made you excited? And would you like to share any? I mean, it's open. It's not really like this isn't like a, you know what I mean? Like, I want you guys to kind of feel like you guys, can talk.
Yeah,
It's all
so
good.
yeah, so I was very intrigued by Hari and Benjamin's presentations. Nathan did an awesome job as well. But it was just the presentation that Harry put together was, and did a really good job.
Thank you.
I do want you all to know, again, this was recorded. So once we do some editing and everything like that, I am going to, kind of basically take each of those presentations, do, a little snippet. And I want to challenge everybody here to share. Once we post this, repost it, share it. LinkedIn is literally designed to help you grow your following, help you link up with other people with like minds and experiences and things like that that can help you guys grow. So don't be a stranger. Actually network this thing out. Be on the lookout for these clips to come within the next 24 hours. We're gonna edit everything and make sure that, at least by Monday, everything will be good. But do you guys have any questions at all? I really appreciate today.
I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you for putting this together. It's just great just getting to see others in the room and others with the same interests and like minds. Just something that I really enjoyed today. It was a relaxing day. Got to kick back, chill and get to network a little bit. So I sent everybody some connection requests. So I'll see y'all on LinkedIn, I guess.
For sure. And also me and Scotty, we definitely do hold workshops that are free. We do them usually on Saturdays around this time. So every Saturday is not actually a showcase, but we're doing the showcases more and more, and we're gonna grow them as time progresses. But we offer the free workshops where we also do the builds. Feel free to bring some information that you may have learned, if we have something that's open to the public. And yeah, does anybody else have anything else?
I just wanted to thank everyone for presenting, and it's really cool to see the ideas being shared because a lot of the work is individual and late at night. And it's cool just to be in a space where we share interests and can share some skills and techniques.
Yeah, Benjamin, your presentation was very, very good. It was just a little bit over my head at this point for me. But it was awesome just seeing you walk through the steps and doing some of the testing and the CTF stuff. So
Thank you.
I just get into try hackney too. So
Awesome. Yeah. I think for anyone who's interested in CTFs and they seem too hard, just start with the easy ones and don't hesitate to read other people's walkthroughs. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can learn a ton just by watching other people solve problems.
Sure. The other people in the audience had anything to share, or if not, I'm gonna let everybody have their Saturdays back. Thank you guys for pulling up and
Thank you.
being a part of the second Cyber Showcase. We will be back probably next month. If you guys have already done a demo and you guys got something else to share, that's just more. That's more. I was gonna say that's more to that can basically be showcased. So just put yourself out there more and more. So that's practice, and that's again application. So again, thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day.
You too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bet.
Bye.
Mhm.